If your Minecraft houses always feel almost good, but never quite right, it's probably because you're ignoring these 7 building rules. My name is Renly, and I've spent a lot of time trying to perfect realistic builds, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to become a better builder. Rule number 1, flat walls kill Minecraft builds. Even if your block choice is good, flat walls make builds feel fake. There's no shadow, no separation, and nothing for your eye to read. Now you can see that when we add depth, this entire build changes. We come off of the flat wall by a block, and not only that, we also push the windows in by half a block using panes. So now our whole depth is 1.5 blocks instead of just a flat wall. And you can see these shadows that it creates really give a realism effect. Overhanging the roof gives us shadow. Putting stairs under that overhang, shadow. Extending the windows out 1 block gives us a shadow. The planter under the window, shadow. You can see how this all kind of contributes to a much more realistic feel with all these shadows being casted across this wall. Same wall, completely different feel. If a wall is longer than 5 blocks, it probably needs depth. You don't always have to bring blocks out or in for depth. You can also get some of that from texturing or including stairs. But light blocks can seem closer and dark blocks may be further away, but texturing can add some depth too, so I don't want you to think you always have to bring the block out. Rule number 2, proportions matter more than block choice. You can use the best blocks in the game, and your build will still feel very wrong if the proportions are off. Most builders accidentally do one of 2 things. They either make their walls way too tall, or they make them way too short and let the roof completely take over. Both of these throw off the scale of the house and make it really hard to look at. Your brain reads the size of a build before it reads the detail. So when the walls, roof, and windows don't feel like they belong together, the whole house feels off, even if you can't explain why. That's why some very simple builds look great, but some highly detailed builds can still feel wrong. If you're building a small house, your walls should usually be around 4 to 5 blocks tall. Once that feels right, then you kind of let the roof do the rest of the height. If your house feels off, instead of changing the blocks, try to make sure the proportions are right first. One trick I like to do is lay out the build beforehand, including the height, and see if the silhouette feels right before I start building. Rule number 3, centers matter. This one is subtle, but it affects almost every build you make. If something in your house feels slightly off, even though everything else is fine, it can often be that there's no clear center. A lot of builders will accidentally use even numbers when they place their walls and doors. And when you do that, there's no true middle point. Your eye doesn't know where to focus, and your roof is going to be much harder. Your brain will look for symmetry and for balance. When there's no center, everything feels slightly misaligned, even if the build is technically balanced or symmetrical. That's why builds can feel uncomfortable without you knowing why. Here's the fix. Try using odd numbers whenever something needs a center. You can see here I have a 5-block wall, and it allows me to have a very nice center all the way up to even this window. And now everything kind of has a place to line up. So again, if something needs a center, make it an odd number. This will also make your life way easier when you get to the roof. Rule number 4, limit your repetition. This is one of the fastest ways to make a build feel artificial without even realizing it. Too much repetition makes houses look stamped instead of built. A really common mistake is copying the exact same shape over and over. Same window, same spacing, same height, all the way across. Even though this build is symmetrical and it doesn't look terrible, it can start to feel fake. Real buildings almost never repeat perfectly. There are always small changes, different window types, additions. When everything repeats exactly, your brain reads it as artificial. It stops feeling like a place and starts feeling like a pattern. The fix is simple. You don't need chaos, you need variation. Change one thing, make one window taller, shift a section. You can see that these dormers are very similar, but one's slightly larger and one has a bigger window. Just some small changes like that can elevate a build and make it look more realistic. Add a small extension, put a chimney on one side, balance it on the other side with a tree. If everything repeats, nothing feels real. Rule number 5, every build needs a clear focus, and along with that, it needs a purpose. If nothing stands out and nothing explains why the building exists, the build will always feel unfinished. A really common mistake is making everything the same level of importance. Every wall gets the same detail, every side gets the same treatment, so your eye doesn't know where to land. Real buildings usually exist for a reason. A house might have a chimney, a workshop might have an extension, or a factory might have a tower or smokestack. I plan to put a super smelter in this building, hence the chimney and the smoke. The real fix is to choose one main feature and let everything else support it. One chimney, one extension or tower. Feature tells a story about what the building is and gives it a purpose. If nothing stands out, then nothing will feel intentional. This is a super smelter. This is a potion shop, so it has more magical colors. This is an armor shop that sells diamond armor. Give it a purpose. Rule number 6, every detail needs a reason. This is where a lot of builds fall apart. Not because they lack detail, but because the detail doesn't mean anything, or there's too much of it. When you detail things randomly, it doesn't really make any sense. If you're adding trapdoors, fences, slabs, buttons randomly, then you may be falling victim to this. Adding it all just to fill space, individually they're fine, but together and in large volumes with no purpose, they can create visual noise. Your eye doesn't really know what matters. It's sort of like if you built a building with a bunch of different colors. There's just a bunch of noise, there's no hierarchy, you don't really know what to look at. The fix for this is actually pretty simple, and it's just to ask yourself one simple question. Why is this here? If you can't answer that, you should probably remove the detail. Why is this trapdoor here? It adds structure and creates a hidden light source for the future. This is stacked firewood. This is a coal block and coal storage for the super smelter. These bricks along the bottom act as a foundation. These buttons can act as fallen branches or even little roots poking out of the ground. This sign can indicate to a player that this is a shop. Remember to ask yourself, why is this here? And if you can't explain a detail, it probably doesn't belong. Rule number 7, build more and think less. This one matters just as much as all the others, because none of these rules help you if you never actually build. A lot of builders get stuck planning, they overthink block palettes, they restart builds over and over, and they never finish anything. And that's how improvement stalls. Real improvement comes from repetition, from finishing builds, even when they're not perfect. Every finished build teaches you something, so don't wait until you feel ready. Build more and think less. If you remember nothing else from this video, good builds don't come from better blocks. They come from better decisions. Focus on your structure first, be intentional with your detail, and most importantly, keep building. If this helped you think differently about building, I post a lot of videos similar to this on my channel. I would really appreciate it if you gave me a follow, and thanks for watching.